Today I'm here to talk about a man, a sociologist and an anthropologist called Pierre Bourdieu. Pierre Bourdieu was born into a small French family and which was very much a working class family. Bourdieu joined the military. However, he refused the opportunity to do his officer training, preferring to stay with his peers and those more like him. And as he grew in academia, Bourdieu attempted to answer the question of how is inequality reproduced? Now, in doing so, Bourdieu had to reconcile the age-old challenge of structure and of agency. How much agency do we have in society? And he did so by portraying society as a field, or rather a series of interlinked fields, into which one is placed. And this placement is determined by capital. By social capital, how connected we are with others in our social networks. By cultural capital, our knowledge. Economic capital, our wealth and our ability to exchange commodities. And finally, symbolic capital. The capital to determine what forms of capital are valued in society and how society sees the world. Symbolic capital is typically held by those in power. But what maintains this position in society? Well, Bourdieu argues that this is maintained through habitus. Habitus is the set of internalized dispositions which shape a framework of how we see the world, make sense of it, and how we navigate the world. Habitus is durable and embodied. It is further inculcated and enforced through institutions, through the family, state, academia, and religious institutions. It is also further enforced through doxa. Doxa is the beliefs and the things of the world around us which we take for granted, which we assume, such as we live in a meritocracy. The poor are poor because they don't work hard enough. And again, coming back to institutions, Bourdieu suggests that institutions play a key role in maintaining this field position. And that is due to symbolic violence, which he argues is their inherent purpose, to perpetuate and to maintain these inequalities. The key point he makes, though, is that this is done silently. This is the silent role of institutions. It's important to remember that the effect this has and the habitus it perpetuates is not only effective for individuals but also groups and even whole social classes, all of whom have positions in these fields. Lastly, habitus is shaped by taste. Whether you like AC/DC or Mozart, this symbols to others what your social capital is, who your connections are with, what you value, and it is often used to classify others into positions in this field of society. And all of this can be embodied through institutions, through the media. When a prominent government department announces a name change to the Ministry for Vulnerable Children, this perpetuates these internalized beliefs that these children are vulnerable. Media headlines suggest that drug abuse is a main contributor to poverty, that there is no inequality. Parents are the source of child poverty. 10 signs you won't ever get rich. And statements saying, you can't keep blaming society. You have to take some form of responsibility for yourself. And all of this creates a field which is inherently unequal and biased towards the forms of capital which institutions set. But even then, surely you're arguing we have agency. Individuals are not just restricted to this place, and that is true. However, Bourdieu suggests that they typically change along the modal trajectory of their social class, and that this modal trajectory is again dependent on the forms of capital, be they economic or social, that the class values and that those shaping the field, shaping the game, value. So ultimately, Bourdieu suggests that we typically move along the modal trajectory of our social class. This is determined by forms of capital which we value and are valued by those in power. Power which works through institutions, symbolic violence. Ultimately, reinforcing this with the concept of habitus, Bourdieu attempts to reconcile the age-old challenge of agency and structure. And that is Bourdieu.